Conceptually, selling to the government's easy. All you need is a customer who wants your product, and who has a way to buy it, and who has money. And I'm sure your product is awesome, so you're good there. And if you're SBIR funded, the way to buy your product is kinda maybe easier thanks to the SBIR Phase III, so you're good there. So you might think that you're 2/3 of the way to a sale, but that has money piece is goddamn infuriating. For example, at the end of my first 2 SBIRs, I couldn't find money for my government customer to use. So I never sold the product that came out of the R&D. And I know that needing to find government money so that a government buyer can buy a government funded product is strange, but please believe me, if you want to sell your SBIR funded product to the government, you're gonna have to do this. So anyway, in my quest to find money, I analyzed 5 years of SBIR product purchase data. And after trying dozens of data segmentation techniques and regressions and a bunch of other fancy math, I tried organizing the data by the month of sale. And suddenly it all made sense, and I saw what the pros were doing. And here it is. Here's the number of SBIR funded product purchases each month. Do you see the big insight? Of course you do. August and September are not like the others. Well, mostly September is not like the others, but I'll be generous and throw August in there too. In fact, there are roughly the same number of purchases in those 2 months as in the rest of the year combined. So that's interesting, but to turn that insight into government sales, we have to talk about Christmas. So here's a regular year. It starts in January on New Year's Day and ends in December with Christmas, when all the good little boys and girls get presents. But the federal government's year is a little different. It starts on October 1st and ends on September 30th, which means that federal Christmas happens here at the end of September, when all the good little government contractors get presents. And this is no joke. In the last week of the fiscal year, the federal government spends about $365 billion, or 8% of their total budget, in 1 week. And this end of year spending spree is the key to getting the money you need. But to get a taste, you need to understand why there's so much spending at the end of the year. And this is gonna get nerdy, but I just gave you 365 billion reasons to pay attention, and you clicked on a video about government acquisition strategies, so you knew what you were getting into. Alright, so this is a rough schematic of how government budgeting works. We have individual government offices who need things making budget requests at the bottom, then those requests get combined and passed up until we have the president's budget that's sent to Congress at the top. And as you can see, there are a lot of steps along the way, so this process takes about 2 years. So 2 years from an officer having a need and asking for money to that officer getting the budget to buy a solution. And can I just tell you how happy it makes me that I'm talking about federal budgeting and some of you haven't flipped over to a Mr. Beast video? I legitimately appreciate that you're one of my ride or dies. Sorry, here's why this time delay is important. First, it means that if a government officer didn't submit a need and a budget request for your product 2 years ago, there isn't going to be money for your solution today. Second, it means that every dollar in this year's budget is already assigned to some other need. So there's no pot of flex cash out there that your government customer can tap into. Or is there? And third, it means that if your program officer submits a budget request for your product today, the money won't arrive for about 2 years. So yeah, if you spend the last 2 years creating a great product rather than making budget requests, you're probably feeling pretty salty right now. And if you can't wait 2 years for a new budget request to wind its way through the system, you're probably thinking that it's time to give up on federal sales and focus on commercial customers, like the vast majority of the SBIR winners do. But hold on. This is a happy video. Remember I said that September is GovCon Christmas? That sounds interesting. Let's explore that through the magic of an illustrative example. Okay, so imagine that this is FEMA's budget for fiscal year 2024. And the fiscal year starts on October 1st, 2023, and needs to last through September 30th, 2024. So over the next 8 months, FEMA is spending money on storms, earthquakes, and Sharknado response like you'd expect. Then in May, FEMA notices that they're on track to have a lot of money left over at the end of the year. Well, this is a good thing, right? It sounds like FEMA was a conscientious steward of taxpayer money and should be rewarded. No. This is bad for FEMA. If they end the year with extra money, they have to give it back to the Treasury, so they don't get to save that extra cash for a rainy day. And even worse, their next budget request may get reduced since they over budgeted this year. So what do? Well, remember when I said that every dollar in an agency's budget is already allocated to a defined need, and that there's no pot of flex cash out there? Well, in August and September, that part of the code becomes more what you'd call guidelines than an actual rule. And it's open season for every government program officer to fund their pet projects. Or said another way, the government gets their Oprah on. A government officer wants new laptops? Boom! Well, look under your chairs because you get a laptop and you get a laptop. Everyone gets laptops. Do the pilots want leather chairs for their ready room? Well, don't look under your chairs because you're all getting new leather ones. Someone built a crazy SBIR funded product that might do something cool? Yeah, sure, we got some cash for that. And this is GovCon Christmas. So if you've got a customer that's excited about your SBIR-based product, but they don't have money, wait till May when the government shifts from being fiscal disciplinarians to frantically figuring out how they're going to push billions out the door to get to zero by September 30th. So plant the seeds with your government customers in May, be extra good little government contractors in June and July, and hopefully you'll get a present from Uncle Santa Claus in September. All right. So in the Phase 3 video, we covered the contracting portion of selling to the government. In this video, we talked about where to find money. But bringing it all together into a sales plan and then executing that plan is tricky. So if you'd like to learn how to do that, watch the video on the left. And we're on track to publish 42 classes this year on getting federal dollars to fund your product development, so subscribe to catch them all.